Betrayed by the Galactic Council, humanity faced its darkest hour, but from the shadows rose a force the galaxy had never seen, ready to strike back. Fleets clashed, stars exploded, and brilliant minds turned betrayal into victory, proving humans could survive and dominate against impossible odds. Covert missions, daring battles, and fearless leadership united humans and alien allies, rewriting the fate of the galaxy forever. Humanity rose from betrayal to power, showing the universe that courage, strategy, and unity could topple even the strongest enemies. Earth had always believed it was safe under the watchful eyes of the Galactic Council. Decades of peace and technological aid had allowed humanity to flourish. Cities glittered with neon lights and advanced infrastructure. Spaceports buzzed with ships traveling to distant colonies. And scientists made discoveries that would have been impossible without the Council's guidance. Humanity had grown confident, almost complacent, trusting that the Council would protect them in times of danger. Little did they know that shadows of betrayal were beginning to stir in the far reaches of the galaxy. In orbit around Earth, the Sol Sector Command Center monitored activity across nearby star systems. Commander Eric Voss paced the observation deck of the flagship Starfire, his eyes scanning the holographic displays filled with star charts and fleet positions. Reports from human intelligence hinted at strange communications from the Zorath Prime sector, whispers of secret plans, yet the Council's official channels denied any tension. Eric felt an unease he could not shake. The subtle interference in communications and unexplained shifts in energy readings made him wary, but others dismissed his concerns as paranoia. Dr. Alara Miles worked tirelessly in the scientific labs of New Geneva, a sprawling city devoted to innovation and research. Hyperdrive tests were yielding odd anomalies. The drives occasionally experienced slight instability when crossing certain sectors. Alara suspected interference, but without concrete evidence, she kept her concerns private. She often met with Commander Voss to discuss her observations, and together they wondered if the Council's reassurances were truly reliable. Meanwhile, planetary defenses remained on standby, fully operational, yet no one knew if the Council's systems could be trusted in a moment of sudden betrayal. Across the galaxy, Supreme Commander Krivath of Zorath Prime observed the Sol Sector from his throne room aboard the Oblivion. His fleet was hidden in the shadows of a nearby asteroid field, massive warships camouflaged against sensors. The Council had officially declared these deployments routine exercises, but Krivath had other intentions. He feared humanity's rapid technological and military growth. He believed humans could dominate the galaxy if left unchecked. Council politics were shifting, and Krivath began plotting subtle moves to weaken Earth before they could become a threat. In the Lyran sector, Warlord Zyphor monitored fleets loyal to the Council, sending encrypted messages to Krivath. Few outside the inner circle understood the gravity of their plans. Zyphor's ships were sleek and deadly. Armed with plasma cannons and cloaking devices, their presence near human colonies would go unnoticed until it was too late. Back on Earth, Eric and his officers reviewed the latest intelligence, scanning the Lyran and Zorath sectors. Their analysis hinted at unusual fleet movements, but they could not interpret the intentions behind them. The Council's double-dealing remained hidden. Human colonies across the Sol sector were bustling with activity. Trade ships like the Nova Vanguard carried essential resources between planets, while research vessels tested new propulsion systems. People lived comfortably, unaware of the political storm brewing just beyond the outer planets. Citizens marveled at advanced AI and holographic communication, while military academies trained new generations of officers to protect humanity. Little did anyone realize that these officers would soon face the test of their lives. Preparing for a betrayal that would shake Earth to its core, Alara continued her research on energy fluctuations and hyperdrive inconsistencies, sharing her findings only with Voss. They speculated that some Council members might see humanity as a threat, plotting to cripple their technology and control their expansion. Every calculation and simulation hinted at potential scenarios, but without proof, the world remained oblivious. On the observation deck of the Starfire, Voss ran drills with his officers, preparing for emergencies, practicing rapid fleet deployment and defensive maneuvers. Yet all these exercises were only shadows of the storm that would soon descend. Even as humans lived their daily lives, the Galactic Council met in secret chambers above Orion 4, debating the fate of the Sol sector. While public statements assured peace and cooperation, behind closed doors, some races whispered of limiting humanity. Fearful of their ingenuity and ambition, Ilara and Voss sensed the undercurrent, but the rest of Earth carried on with celebrations of progress and prosperity, unaware that in the hidden corners of the galaxy, the seeds of betrayal were already sown, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The calm before the storm stretched across the Sol sector, a deceptive peace that masked political scheming, technological manipulation, and fleet movements. Earth's leaders and scientists prepared in their own ways, scanning the stars and analyzing data. Yet no one could see the full picture. The galaxy's powers were aligning against humanity without warning. As Commander Voss gazed at the distant stars, he could not shake the feeling that the next message from the Council would not bring guidance, but a challenge that would test humanity's courage, resolve, and unity. Humanity's story was about to change forever. The trust in the Galactic Council about to shatter, and the world would have to awaken quickly before the first strike of betrayal hit, leaving the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. During a high-level summit at the orbital citadel above Orion 4, Earth faced an unexpected shock. The Galactic Council suddenly imposed harsh sanctions, cutting off trade, communication, and essential resources to the Sol sector. Human colonies like New Geneva and Mars Prime were immediately affected. Supply ships such as the Nova Vanguard were denied entry to critical stations, and the defenses of Earth's orbital platforms were partially disabled. Commander Eric Voss watched the unfolding events from the Starfire, his crew scrambling to assess the impact. The Council's official statements claimed the actions were preventive measures against humanity's rapid expansion. But the truth was far more sinister. Supreme Commander Krivoth of Zorath Prime revealed his true intentions, using the Oblivion as a command center to coordinate the blockade. His fleet moved into strategic positions, cloaked and ready to strike if humanity resisted. In the Lyran sector, Warlord Zyphor mobilized his sleek and deadly ships, the Dreadstorm leading a squadron of plasma-armed cruisers. Orders were clear: isolate and weaken human influence before they could challenge the Council. Admiral Laura Chen on Earth realized that humanity was facing not just sanctions, but an organized campaign of suppression, her mind racing to find countermeasures. The human colonies experienced immediate disruption. Hyperdrive-powered cargo vessels were stranded in transit. Vital food and medical supplies were delayed. Panic spread among civilian populations. Yet military and scientific leaders remained calm, knowing that survival depended on swift action. Scientists led by Dr. Ilara Miles began analyzing the interference in their hyperdrive systems, discovering patterns of sabotage designed to slow travel and communication. She realized that the Council had not only betrayed Earth politically, but was actively attempting to cripple its technological capabilities. Communication networks were jammed, leaving human colonies isolated. Commander Eric Voss coordinated with Admiral Leora Chen to establish secure channels using experimental quantum transmitters. Ships like the Eclipse and Ironclad were prepped for rapid deployment, ready to escort supply vessels or respond to attacks. Every human officer knew the Council's betrayal meant war was inevitable. The tension in the command decks was palpable as analysts plotted every possible scenario, considering Krivoth's fleet positions, Zyphor's hidden squadrons, and potential rebel allies among the Council members. Across the galaxy, secret Council members watched the unfolding chaos. Some, like Chancellor Trellis of the Omicron sector, questioned Krivoth's aggression, fearing it might provoke humanity beyond control. But the majority of Council factions supported the blockade, believing that humans were too dangerous to be left unchecked. The political landscape shifted instantly, and humanity's previous trust in the Council dissolved. Earth was now a target, and survival depended on unity, strategy, and speed. In response, human intelligence launched reconnaissance missions into Zorath Prime and Lyran sectors. Using stealth frigates like the Shadowhawk, spies mapped enemy positions and gathered crucial information about fleet strengths and weaknesses. Every mission was risky, with the chance of detection high, yet the rewards were vital for planning humanity's next move. Back on Earth, Scientists worked night and day to reverse engineer Council interference, creating countermeasures for hyperdrive sabotage, shield disruptions, and communication blackouts, demonstrating humanity's resilience and ingenuity under pressure. Publicly, humanity maintained the illusion of calm. Citizens were reassured that the Council's actions were standard procedure, while secretly, fleets mobilized, defenses were upgraded, and alliances with neutral alien species were explored. Commander Voss and Admiral Chen coordinated the fleet's readiness, ensuring ships like the Starfire, Eclipse, and newly commissioned Aegis were prepared for rapid engagement. Each officer understood that the Council's betrayal was no ordinary political maneuver. It was a calculated attempt to subjugate humanity. As the blockade tightened, human morale strengthened rather than faltered. The first signs of resistance began with minor strikes on isolated Council convoys. Successful missions boosting confidence and sending a clear message: humanity would not surrender. Dr. Alara Miles's research allowed ships to navigate the disrupted sectors safely, while fleets prepared for larger engagements. The Council underestimated the resolve and adaptability of humans, failing to predict that betrayal would ignite the very determination they sought to suppress. By the end of the initial shock, Earth had transformed from a trusting member of the Galactic Council to a defiant power ready to retaliate. Supply lines were being rerouted, new technologies were being deployed, and human commanders were training their officers for war. Humanity had been betrayed, but this act of treachery became the spark that would light the fires of rebellion, setting the stage for a galactic conflict in which Earth would fight not just for survival, but for supremacy. News of the Galactic Council's betrayal spread quickly across the Sol sector. Shock and disbelief rippled through Earth's governments, colonies, and civilian populations. Panic threatened to take hold, but humanity's leaders acted with swift determination. Emergency meetings convened in orbital command centers, and the Earth Coalition Council united under a single purpose: survival and retaliation. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Lyora Chen took the lead, coordinating military strategy, while Dr. Alara Miles and Dr. Jonah Kepler focused on countering the Council's technological sabotage. Every decision had to be precise, as mistakes could cost lives and colonies. Scientists and engineers worked day and night, retrofitting battleships like the Ironclad and Eclipse with experimental plasma cannons, enhanced shields, and adaptive energy systems. Hyperdrives were recalibrated to bypass Council interference, and communication networks were fortified with encrypted quantum links. Intelligence officers analyzed enemy fleet movements, predicting the paths of Krivoth's Zorath Prime Armada and Zyphor's Lyran Sector squadrons. Every simulation revealed both danger and opportunity, pushing humanity to innovate faster than ever before. Human intelligence initiated covert operations into the Zorath and Lyran sectors. Using stealth frigates like the Shadowhawk, spies gathered information on enemy ship counts, patrol patterns, and weak points in blockade defenses. Every mission was high risk, as detection by the Council fleets could mean total destruction. Yet the rewards were crucial. The intelligence collected would later allow humanity to strike with precision, turning the apparent disadvantage into a tactical advantage. Across Earth and human colonies, military academies accelerated training programs, preparing young officers to handle advanced spacecraft, tactical warfare, and interstellar combat. Veterans shared knowledge gained from simulations and past skirmishes, creating a new generation of fearless commanders. Morale became a weapon as much as any cannon or shield. Citizens and soldiers alike understood that their survival depended on unity, determination, and courage. Humanity's resolve began to harden like steel. The Council's attempts to cripple human hyperdrives and communications inadvertently pushed human innovation further. Dr. Alara Miles discovered ways to enhance energy efficiency and improve propulsion stability under interference, while Dr. Jonah Kepler developed stealth modules that could allow human ships to bypass enemy detection. The combination of human ingenuity and determination created a technological edge, a glimmer of hope that despite being outnumbered, humans could challenge the Council's power. Diplomacy began quietly behind the scenes. Human representatives reached out to neutral or oppressed alien species, offering alliances and mutual protection. Some, like the Varelians of the Omicron sector and the Kinthari of the Zenith sector, were cautious at first, wary of Council retribution, but humanity's transparency and strategic gifts won them over. Shared technology, combined fleets, and coordinated planning created the foundation of a coalition, turning isolated humans and alien sympathizers into a formidable force. On the battlefield, humans practiced simulated strikes against Council outposts, learning to maneuver large fleets in coordination with smaller Allied ships. The Starfire, Nova Vanguard, Aegis, and Allied Virelian cruiser Zephyr became familiar to every officer. Each exercise sharpened their tactics, improving fleet responsiveness. And testing experimental weapons under controlled conditions, Commander Eric Voss emphasized adaptability, ensuring that every pilot and officer could respond to unexpected threats. Back on Earth, public broadcasts encouraged calm while hiding the intensity of preparations. Civilians continued their daily lives, working, trading, and innovating. But underground, scientists and military planners were racing against time, preparing for the first major engagement with the Council. This duality of visible peace and hidden readiness became humanity's strength, allowing them to strike decisively when the moment arrived. Every action, from espionage missions to fleet training and alliance building, contributed to humanity's transformation from a betrayed civilization to a rising power. Each department, scientist, and commander played a role, proving that unity and innovation could overcome overwhelming odds. The betrayal that was meant to weaken Earth instead ignited a spark of resistance, and slowly, the Sol sector began to feel the first stirrings of humanity's counterattack. By the end of these preparations, humanity was ready to challenge the Council, not with blind fury, but with calculated precision. Technological advancements, strategic alliances, and the sheer determination of every human from Earth to distant colonies had turned fear into power. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Leora Chen stood on the bridge of the Starfire, ready to lead the first strikes, while scientists ensured that every ship and weapon was optimized for success. Humanity was no longer a passive victim. They were an unstoppable force, preparing to reclaim their place in the galaxy. Humanity knew that facing the full force of the Galactic Council alone would be impossible. Diplomatic envoys were dispatched to neutral and oppressed alien civilizations, offering protection, shared technology, and a promise of equality in a new galactic order. The Virelians of the Omicron sector, led by Chancellor Trellis, were the first to respond cautiously. Their crystalline ships, capable of absorbing energy blasts, provided both firepower and strategic advantage. Meanwhile, the Kinthari of the Zenith sector, under Commander Zilla, saw an opportunity to escape the Council's control. Their agile, swift vessels could strike and retreat quickly, making them perfect allies for human hit-and-run tactics. Secret meetings were held in orbit around neutral planets. Human commanders, scientists, and alien representatives gathered to coordinate strategies. Shared intelligence allowed humans to understand enemy fleet movements in the Zorath Prime and Lyran sectors, while alien allies provided knowledge of local terrain, gravitational anomalies, and hidden jump points. The first joint exercises tested the combined capabilities of human and alien ships, with vessels like the Starfire, Aegis, Luminary, and Virelian Zephyr learning to operate in perfect synchrony. Each maneuver strengthened trust and proved that cooperation could outweigh numerical superiority. Human engineers adapted alien technology to human designs, creating hybrid ships that combined speed, firepower, and stealth. The Aegis received Virelian energy shields, while stealth frigates like the Shadowhawk were upgraded with Kinthari cloaking modules. Each modification gave humanity an edge, allowing them to penetrate blockade lines and evade enemy sensors. Dr. Alara Miles and Dr. Jonah Kepler worked tirelessly, testing weapons, propulsion, and shield systems, ensuring that every new design could withstand the Council's advanced weaponry. In the Andara sector, joint training simulations were conducted. Humans and their alien allies practiced coordinated strikes on mock Council outposts. Timing, communication, and precision were drilled relentlessly. Officers learned to anticipate each other's actions, adapting quickly to changes in fleet formations. These exercises also included resource management, ensuring that ships could operate independently for extended periods if supply lines were threatened. Every officer understood that success depended on teamwork, innovation, and trust in their allies. Meanwhile, back on Earth, news of these alliances boosted morale among civilians. Citizens were inspired by reports of humanity standing united with alien civilizations. Trade agreements and technology sharing strengthened not only military capabilities, but economic and cultural ties. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer isolated, and betrayal by the Council had created opportunities for growth and cooperation. Earth's leaders used this period to solidify the political and military framework that would support sustained conflict and eventual victory. Human intelligence operatives continued reconnaissance missions in enemy sectors, gathering precise data on Krivath's Zorath Prime fleet and Zyphor's Lyran squadrons. Information from these missions allowed commanders to plan multi-pronged attacks, choosing the right time, location, and combination of ships to strike maximum impact. The knowledge gained also helped in training exercises. Where human and alien crews practiced countering enemy tactics they had observed firsthand. Each mission brought humanity closer to readiness for the first offensive action. Alliances extended beyond just fleet support. Scientists shared data on shield modulation, energy absorption, and propulsion systems, allowing allies to improve their ships and integrate with human strategies. This exchange of knowledge created a sense of interdependence, strengthening loyalty and commitment to the common cause. Ambassadorial teams worked tirelessly to maintain trust, mediate disputes, and ensure every species understood the stakes. The coalition was fragile, but determination and clear leadership kept it focused on the goal of resisting Council oppression. As preparation continued, human fleets expanded with new hybrid vessels. Officers trained tirelessly, and scientists pushed technological boundaries further. The Luminary and allied Zephyr were outfitted with long-range sensors and adaptive shields, capable of withstanding concentrated Council fire. Stealth frigates could infiltrate enemy lines, gather intelligence, and execute targeted strikes. The combined force was now more agile, lethal, and coordinated than anything the Council expected. By the end of these preparations, humanity had transformed its initial vulnerability into strength. The alliances with Varelians and Kinthari provided not just ships and knowledge, but confidence and morale. Joint operations proved that even small human forces could execute complex maneuvers with devastating effect. Every officer, scientist, and diplomat understood the stakes, and each was committed to ensuring that betrayal would not break humanity, but instead make it stronger. The stage was now set for the first real strike against the Galactic Council. Humans and their allies had learned to coordinate across species, technologies, and sectors, building a force capable of challenging even the most powerful Council fleets. What had begun as a desperate bid for survival had become a carefully planned offensive, demonstrating that humanity's ingenuity, courage, and alliances could turn the tables. The galaxy was about to witness the rise of a human-led coalition that would strike with precision, intelligence, and unity. Humanity had spent months preparing for this moment. Every fleet, every officer, and every allied ship was ready for the first decisive strike against the Galactic Council. The target was Krivath's blockade outpost above Zorath Prime, a heavily fortified station controlling trade and communication routes to the Sol sector. Commander Eric Voss reviewed the attack plan aboard the Starfire. Coordinating with Admiral Leora Chen and allied leaders, the human fleet included the Starfire, Eclipse, Ironclad, and the newly commissioned Aegis, while the Varelian Zephyr and Kinthari skimmers provided support and tactical versatility. The strike began with stealth frigates infiltrating the outer perimeter. The Shadowhawk and allied Kinthari vessels moved silently, disabling automated defenses and sensor arrays. Each success allowed the main fleet to approach undetected. The Council station's alarm systems remained unaware until the fleet was already within firing range. Humanity had turned careful planning and precise intelligence into a tactical advantage, demonstrating that preparation and strategy could overcome even the most formidable defenses. At the moment of engagement, plasma cannons and energy beams erupted from human and allied ships, striking the Council's shields with synchronized precision. The Aegis absorbed retaliatory fire, protecting smaller frigates, while the Eclipse targeted weapon emplacements with pinpoint accuracy. Commander Eric Voss maneuvered the Starfire through a narrow asteroid field, avoiding heavy bombardment and delivering devastating blows to the station's core systems. Allied commanders communicated in real time, adjusting tactics to counter Krivath's rapid defensive responses. Krivath, observing from the Oblivion, struggled to respond. His fleet had been confident in the station's defenses, yet humanity's combination of stealth, coordination, and technological upgrades overwhelmed them. Squadrons of human and allied fighters executed flanking maneuvers, disabling reinforcements before they could reach the station. Commander Zilla's Kinthari skimmers darted between heavy fire, taking out shield generators and supply docks. The Council outpost, once thought impenetrable, began to collapse under the onslaught. Meanwhile, Admiral Leora Chen oversaw fleet-wide coordination, ensuring that supply lines were secure and that reinforcements could arrive if needed. Every ship had a role, from the heavily armored ironclad delivering sustained bombardment to stealth vessels cutting off escape routes. Human and alien officers worked seamlessly, their months of joint training and alliance building paying off in real time. Civilians in distant colonies received encrypted updates, learning of humanity's first major victory, boosting morale across the Sol sector. The battle raged for hours, yet human ingenuity continued to prevail. Dr. Alara Miles and Dr. Jonah Kepler monitored energy fluctuations from Earth, providing live feedback to adjust weapons and shields. Explosive charges were placed on key council structures by boarding parties, neutralizing critical systems. Every strike was calculated, minimizing human and allied losses while maximizing damage to Krivath's forces. Even Krivath's elite warships, designed to dominate smaller fleets, fell victim to coordinated attacks and advanced countermeasures. As the outpost's defenses failed, the station began to fragment. Explosions illuminated space, debris scattering across the orbit. Krivath barely managed to escape in the Oblivion, retreating to regroup. His fleet, demoralized and damaged, withdrew under the combined pressure of human and allied forces. The first taste of victory sent a powerful message across the galaxy. Humanity was no longer a passive player, but a force capable of challenging the Council's authority. Throughout the fleet, officers celebrated small successes. Yet Commander Voss reminded them that this was only the beginning. Follow-up operations were planned to secure the area, rescue any prisoners, and establish a foothold near Zorath Prime. The alliance between humans, Virelians, and Kinthari had proven effective and would serve as a model for future engagements. Every ship, from the massive Starfire to the nimble Kinthari skimmers, had played a role, demonstrating the power of unity and strategy. Back on Earth, news of the victory spread quickly. Civilians and military personnel alike felt pride and renewed determination. Humanity had struck back at betrayal, turning fear and disadvantage into triumph. Scientists began preparing for the next stage, improving technology and fleet readiness, while officers trained for the expected retaliation from the Council. The victory above Zorath Prime proved that careful planning, innovation, and cooperation with allies could overcome even overwhelming odds. By the end of the operation, humanity had achieved more than a military win. It had gained confidence, morale, and the first real momentum in the war against the Galactic Council. The first strike was decisive, a clear demonstration that Earth, with its allies, could survive and fight back. Humanity had learned that betrayal could become an opportunity, and the galaxy would soon witness the rise of a force determined not just to survive, but to reclaim its place among the stars. The Council's response to humanity's first strike was swift and brutal. Krivath and Zyphor ordered massive retaliatory attacks on human colonies and allied positions. Their fleets, including the Oblivion and Dreadstorm, moved through the Zorath Prime and Lyran sectors with overwhelming firepower. Civilian populations in remote colonies scrambled to safety, while human military forces prepared for full-scale engagement. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Leora Chen coordinated defensive positions, deploying the Starfire, Eclipse, Ironclad, and allied ships in strategic formations. Each move was calculated to absorb the initial blows while preparing for counterattacks. Humanity had anticipated the escalation. Stealth frigates like the Shadowhawk and Kinthari skimmers infiltrated enemy lines, sabotaging supply convoys and disrupting fleet communications. These small, precise strikes slowed the Council's advance, forcing them to stretch their forces thin. Meanwhile, human engineers continuously upgraded shields, weapons, and propulsion systems, ensuring every vessel could survive prolonged engagements. Dr. Alara Miles and Dr. Jonah Kepler monitored energy fluctuations and weapon output in real time, providing critical adjustments during battles. The Council, confident in their superior numbers, underestimated humanity's adaptability and coordination. In the Lyran sector, Warlord Zyphor's squadrons attempted to encircle human positions, but they were met with unexpected resistance. Human and allied fleets executed rapid flanking maneuvers, using asteroid fields and nebulae as cover. The hybrid ships, equipped with Varelian energy shields and Kinthari cloaking devices, could strike and retreat without taking heavy damage. Every engagement tested humanity's tactics, forcing officers to think creatively and respond quickly to enemy movements. Commander Voss emphasized flexible strategy, ensuring every captain could make independent decisions if communication was disrupted. Council bombardments targeted human colonies, yet civilians and military personnel remained resilient. Evacuation protocols were executed efficiently, and supply lines were rerouted through less vulnerable sectors. The human population witnessed the Council's aggression firsthand, strengthening resolve and support for the war effort. Scientists implemented automated defenses on planetary surfaces, using adaptive energy grids and anti-ship turrets, minimizing casualties while maintaining strategic positions. Humanity's ability to adapt to both offensive and defensive scenarios became a hallmark of their campaign. Espionage and sabotage continued to play a critical role. Covert teams infiltrated Zorath Prime and Lyran installations, planting EMP charges, hijacking ships, and gathering intelligence on fleet movements. Each successful mission weakened the Council's operational capability, allowing human and allied forces to strike more effectively. These actions demonstrated that even small, well-coordinated units could have a significant impact on a larger, more powerful enemy. Morale among human forces surged as victories, both large and small, proved that the Council's retaliation could be countered. Allied coordination proved essential. Varelian and Kinthari fleets provided mobility, reconnaissance, and additional firepower. Combined exercises prior to the conflict allowed joint operations to run smoothly under high-pressure conditions. The Zephyr and Kinthari skimmers frequently intercepted Council reinforcements, disrupting supply chains and communication networks. These actions forced Kryvoth and Zyphor to reconsider their strategies. Their superior numbers no longer guaranteed success. Human innovation, speed, and adaptability began to turn the tide of battle. In the Sol sector, training and resource management ensured human fleets could maintain prolonged engagements. Logistics teams coordinated fuel, ammunition, and repair facilities, keeping ships operational despite continuous combat. Officers learned to execute split-second maneuvers, counter enemy tactics, and exploit weaknesses in Council formations. The hybrid nature of human and allied ships allowed unprecedented flexibility, enabling rapid response to unexpected threats. Humanity's ability to evolve during combat became a critical advantage against a traditionally rigid Council military. By the end of the initial escalation, humanity had demonstrated that it could survive and fight effectively against overwhelming opposition. Kryvoth's and Zyphor's forces were damaged and demoralized, while human and allied fleets continued to adapt and improve. The Sol sector emerged more united than ever, with officers, scientists, and civilians working together toward a common goal. Humanity had turned what was intended to be a devastating retaliation into an opportunity for growth, learning, and preparation for larger strategic offensives. The Council began to fear that underestimating humanity was a grave mistake. Each engagement revealed weaknesses in their approach and highlighted humanity's ingenuity, determination, and resilience. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Leora Chen used these lessons to refine future strategies, ensuring that humanity's next strikes would be even more effective. The escalation had tested human resolve, sharpened their tactics, and strengthened alliances, setting the stage for a decisive turning point in the war against the Galactic Council. Humanity had grown stronger with every battle. Months of preparation, alliance building, and small victories had transformed the Sol sector into a coordinated, resilient force. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Leora Chen now prepared for the ultimate offensive, a coordinated strike on the Galactic Council's central command hub in the Orion sector. This hub controlled communications, fleet movements, and strategic planning for multiple Council sectors. Its defenses were formidable, with massive energy shields, automated turrets, and elite warships, but humanity had learned from past battles that precision, strategy, and coordination could overcome even the strongest fortresses. The human fleet, including the Starfire, Eclipse, Ironclad, and Aegis, was joined by allied ships such as the Varelian Zephyr and Canthari skimmers, forming a multi-layered force capable of striking simultaneously at multiple points. Stealth frigates like the Shadowhawk infiltrated sensor arrays, disabling early warning systems, while heavier ships prepared to deliver concentrated firepower at the core of the command hub. Every officer understood the importance of timing, communication, and coordination, as the success of the strike depended on perfect execution. As the fleet approached the Orion sector, intelligence gathered from reconnaissance missions revealed weaknesses in the Council's outer defenses. Krivath's Oblivion and Zyphor's Dreadstorm were positioned near the command hub, expecting a conventional attack. Humanity's approach, combining stealth, speed, and hybrid technology, allowed them to bypass the majority of these forces without detection. Allied ships provided support by creating diversions, drawing attention away from critical entry points, allowing the human fleet to strike with maximum effectiveness. The assault began with precision strikes on shield generators, weapons platforms, and communication arrays. The Aegis absorbed enemy fire while smaller vessels like the Shadowhawk disabled key systems. Simultaneously, boarding parties in specialized pods infiltrated critical areas of the hub, planting charges to destroy command centers and energy cores. Commander Voss coordinated maneuvers from the bridge of the Starfire, adapting tactics in real time as enemy defenses responded. Every move was calculated, with contingencies prepared for every possible Council counterattack. Supreme Commander Krivath attempted to rally his forces, but human and allied strikes were too coordinated. Rapid flanking attacks, combined with targeted sabotage, caused confusion and panic among the Council's defenders. Even Zyphor's elite squadrons could not respond effectively to the multi-directional assault. The hybrid nature of human and allied ships allowed unprecedented flexibility, enabling small units to deliver devastating blows and retreat before counterattacks could form. Each engagement demonstrated the value of unity, training, and adaptive strategy. Within the central hub, human boarding teams disabled mainframe controls. Cutting off communication between Krivath's and Zyphor's fleets, explosions rocked the station as energy cores were destabilized, forcing enemy ships to retreat to avoid catastrophic destruction. Commander Zilla's Canthari skimmers provided rapid extraction for critical personnel and intelligence, ensuring that key information could be used in future operations. The combined human-allied effort showcased the power of cooperation and planning, turning what seemed impossible into a tangible victory. As the battle progressed, cracks appeared in the Council's control. Some factions began questioning Krivath's and Zyphor's leadership. Seeing humanity's success and realizing the futility of continued blind loyalty, rebel elements within the Council secretly offered support to humans, providing intelligence and access to strategic positions. This internal dissent further weakened the Council's ability to respond, giving humanity and its allies even more advantage in the ongoing offensive. By the time the command hub was fully neutralized, Krivath had been captured, his fleet scattered and demoralized. Zyphor fled to the Outer Rim with what remained of his forces. Humanity had not only struck a decisive blow, but had shifted the balance of power in the galaxy. Civilian populations across human and allied colonies celebrated the victory, while military forces prepared to consolidate control and defend against any remaining resistance. The success demonstrated that planning, coordination, and alliances could overcome even the most powerful adversaries. Back on Earth, leaders and scientists began analyzing the operation's results. Preparing for the next phase of the campaign, lessons learned from the Orion sector would inform fleet strategy, technological upgrades, and diplomatic efforts. Humanity's reputation as a rising galactic power spread quickly, inspiring allies and striking fear into remaining Council loyalists. The Orion sector offensive had proven that humanity was no longer simply defending itself. It was now the decisive force capable of shaping the galaxy's future. The turning point had been achieved. Humanity's fleet, strengthened by alliances and technological innovation, had demonstrated superiority in strategy, adaptability, and courage. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Leora Chen ensured that lessons from every engagement were incorporated into ongoing operations. Humanity had evolved from a betrayed civilization into a dominant power, capable of challenging and reshaping the Galactic Council itself. The Orion Sector strike marked the beginning of a new era where humans and their allies held the initiative, setting the stage for a permanent shift in galactic power. The Galactic Council had been shattered, its leaders either captured, exiled, or retreating to the far edges of known space. Humanity and its allies had achieved what once seemed impossible, gaining control over key sectors and demonstrating that betrayal could be overcome with unity, strategy, and determination. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Leora Chen coordinated the consolidation of these victories, ensuring that captured fleets were repaired, planets stabilized, and remaining Council forces contained. Humanity had not only survived, but was now in a position to lead a new galactic order. With Supreme Commander Krivath imprisoned and Zyphor in retreat, remaining Council factions struggled to maintain authority. Rebel elements within the Council began negotiating with humanity, offering cooperation in exchange for protection and fair treatment. These negotiations were carefully managed by Earth's diplomats, scientists, and military leaders who sought to establish a galaxy based on equality rather than domination. The Sol Sector, once a vulnerable target, became a hub of strategy, training, and technological advancement, serving as the foundation for the new coalition. Humanity's fleet remained vigilant, prepared for any unexpected attacks, but the focus shifted from retaliation to reconstruction. Exploration missions resumed, seeking out new colonies, trade routes, and scientific opportunities. Ships like the Starfire, Aegis, Luminary, and Allied cruisers patrolled borders to prevent any resurgence of hostile forces. Human engineers and scientists, including Dr. Alara Miles and Dr. Jonah Kepler, improved hyperdrive efficiency, shield strength, and weapon systems, ensuring that Earth would never again be caught off guard. Allied species, including the Varelians of the Omicron sector and the Kinthari of the Zenith sector, formally joined the human-led coalition. Their ships and technology integrated fully into the fleet, allowing seamless operations and shared defense protocols. Civilian populations benefited from this cooperation as well, experiencing increased trade, cultural exchange, and access to advanced technology. Humanity had proven that alliances could be both powerful and lasting, creating a network of trust and shared interests across multiple sectors. Diplomatic missions spread throughout the galaxy, ensuring that neutral or previously hostile civilizations understood the new balance of power. Humanity emphasized fairness, justice, and mutual respect, offering protection to planets previously threatened by the Council. The success of these missions strengthened political ties, stabilized regions previously under Council control, and fostered a sense of security that allowed colonies to rebuild and thrive. Humanity's leadership was no longer feared but respected, signaling a shift from conflict to collaboration. On military fronts, fleets were reorganized for long-term stability rather than short-term offense. Officers trained continuously, integrating lessons from past battles and simulations. Stealth frigates, hybrid cruisers, and allied ships maintained readiness for emergencies. While resources were distributed strategically to ensure that all sectors could be defended effectively, humanity had learned that preparation, adaptability, and coordination were as important in peace as they were in war. The combined fleet became a symbol of deterrence and protection across the galaxy. Earth itself underwent significant growth. Its role as a central hub of the coalition allowed rapid technological exchange, research collaboration, and economic expansion. Cities flourished, spaceports handled increased traffic, and scientists led expeditions into uncharted regions. Dr. Alara Miles and Dr. Jonah Kepler spearheaded projects that expanded human understanding of energy, propulsion, and interstellar communication. Humanity had evolved from a betrayed planet into the leader of a powerful coalition capable of shaping galactic policy. Stories of courage, resilience, and innovation spread throughout human and allied colonies, inspiring new generations of leaders, scientists, and explorers. Commander Eric Voss and Admiral Leora Chen became legendary figures, celebrated for their strategic genius and unwavering commitment. Civilians took pride in the victories, knowing that their efforts, sacrifices, and determination had helped secure a new era of peace and prosperity. The galaxy recognized that humans, once underestimated, were now a force of justice, innovation, and leadership. The new galactic order emphasized cooperation, equality, and protection, ensuring that no single faction could dominate the others. Humanity's rise served as a lesson that betrayal could not suppress ingenuity, courage, or unity. The coalition maintained vigilance, combining military readiness with diplomacy, exploration, and scientific advancement. The era of human-led stability had begun, transforming the galaxy into a place where collaboration and mutual respect were the foundation of interstellar relations. Humanity's story, once one of trust betrayed, had evolved into a saga of triumph. The Galactic Council's collapse proved that even overwhelming odds could be overcome with strategy, alliances, and determination. Commander Eric Voss, Admiral Leora Chen, and scientists like Dr. Alara Miles had not only defended Earth, but had reshaped the galaxy's future. The Sol Sector and allied regions now looked forward to a new age of exploration, prosperity, and shared destiny. Humanity had struck back, endured, and emerged as a guiding force, proving that no betrayal could break the spirit of a united people.